Hey guys, before you get into the episode, this is Shon letting you know that I'm officially a brand ambassador for Lift Life. Lift Life is a fitness brand that focuses on selling fitness apparel and fitness equipment for all your workout needs. And what makes them so distinguishable from the rest of the brand is their ability to take street trends and implement them into their line of work. And honestly, I've been a fan of all the things that they have. It's been amazing, and I want you guys to be part of the experience. So if you go check out at the bottom of the description, you will see a link to Lift Life. And if you purchase now, you get to use my code, THESAFEROOM, to get 10% off your purchase. So make sure you go check out the link and make sure you again use the code THESAFEROOM to get 10% off your purchase. I know it changed my life, and I hope it changes your life as well. Now, on to the episode. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Safe Room. You know what it be. It's the President, Shon Williams, and I'm back again with another episode for you guys. Look, it's late at night. I don't care. I don't give a damn. I'm going to give you guys this episode because I love you guys. I love what I do, and we're just going to keep grinding no matter what time of the day, whether it's midnight, early morning, 2 a.m. in the morning. It don't matter, okay? So, cool. I literally got someone messaging me. I'll get back to them later, trust me. So today we have a very interesting episode, and this one it's for personally for me, but I'm hoping you guys are to understand my, I guess, aspect of it. I want to talk about award shows and specifically the makeup of everything. Now, listen, let's just put something clear. I am 20 years old, okay? So I'm not one that's going to be super hyped when it's like, oh my God, like the Grammys are dropping, the Billboards are dropping. I'm not like that. I'm not like that person. It's just, I have other, priorities. I have school, I have work, I have my podcast as well. Like it's a lot. But I think one important thing to realize is that there has to be a prestige to these award shows. There has to be something that, we can look forward to. And then when the actual product drops, we can appreciate the time, the dedication, and the effort to it. And when I watched the VMAs last Sunday, let me tell you guys, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. So what are we going to talk about? Well, I want to break down, my personal experience watching, award shows growing up. But currently, I want to talk about how has the prestige of it dropped down. Oh my God, I'm getting messages. Gem, I will get back to you. I promise. Shout out to her for doing her thing. I will get back to you soon. I'm recording. So anyway, guys. So I want to talk about the prestige and how it has disappeared. Yes, I'm saying it. I don't care, bro. It's disappeared. It's gone. It's whoosh, vamoose. I want to explain why and how would I fix it. I'm not saying I'm the ultimate person when it comes to like booking or fixing show. I mean, that's what my friends say, but I kind of want to break it down, just how should the approach be moving forward. And again, I have an announcement at the end of this episode, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But let's get into it. So award shows growing up. Listen, I remember the days when they be announcing that, Grammys are coming up, the Billboard, the VMAs, the BET Awards, the BET Hip Hop Awards, Soul Train Awards. When those were dropping, I was like, oh my gosh, bro. Like, yo, I'm so excited. I'm so ready. Let's get into it. And again, when I was young, I didn't know better. I was probably doing stupid shit. And, I can't really remember. But again, when you're a kid, you didn't have that much, like, priorities to worry about. You had, like, just classes, and that was it. Being a kid, like, or just like, even like in middle school, I wasn't stressing too much. Probably in high school, I had other priorities to do, and then when I got to university, it just tripled. So, yeah. But I mean, growing up, even just watching the shows, they were like, they felt like super shows. They were so special. You saw all the top names out there performing, you know, all the different categories. You know, you're like debating like, oh, who's gonna win Artist of the Year? Who's gonna win best R&B, best pop, best hip hop artist? Who's gonna win Video of the Year? Who's gonna win best collaboration? You know, best group / duo. Like there were so many things, and plus the performances as well. They were so great. And like it, obviously, there's a couple of award shows that, you know, are reminiscent to me that I watch, like the BET Awards for sure. Like those are like my main one. I care about those more than the Grammys. Again, like because BET, I grew up watching BET. We go 106 in Park. You know, all the different music videos like they used to drop as well. Like every time, like is it me? But like when you watch BET and they be dropping like those music videos, like you knew like which songs were coming next because they played it over and over and over again. You know, maybe if they played like a Rihanna, Take a Bow, you knew the next one was gonna be Busted Baby, or the next one was gonna be I Should Have Cheated, you know, or Jay Holiday or Jamie Foxx. Like there were so many like that you knew. It's like, okay, it's like, yeah, let's get into it. It was so lit back then. Nowadays, yo man, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Just everything just feels so meh. It's like mediocre in a way. It's just like, and that's a strong word. I know it's a strong word, but I don't know. I feel today when you look at award shows, I feel it doesn't have that same level of like attraction in terms of like, you know, people and the viewership that, oh my God, like the awards will come. If I hear the Billboard Awards is like up next, it's just kind of like, okay, cool, whatever, you know, nothing serious, nothing crazy. But like back then I was like going so hyped, but now it's like, you know what, it's whatever. And outside of just from the fan perspective and just the audience perspective, for the artists as well, like you can tell that there are some artists that just don't give a shit. Like they don't care. It's like, oh, the American Music Awards is up next. They're like, all right, well, whatever, doesn't matter to me. And like honestly, I can honestly say with a full heart, the prestige of award shows is gone. It is gone, and it's been gone for a while now. But the reason is like, why is it gone? Well, before I even get to why, let me explain to you like how it just dropped over time. You know, I just feel like when you put so much effort into one thing, that it actually becomes like something that's like, you know, okay, this is regular, and eventually it kind of like gets watered down to not having that, you know, that spectacle, and doesn't have the ambiance to it. For example, like the performances, I feel like performances nowadays is kind of like everything's the same. Everything's just the same. Like nothing different. Nothing feels like, oh, this is like award show, like worthy. I remember back then there was like a variety, and not just from performance, but even artists that you can listen to in terms of genre. And the fact that we're living in a time where like music is more diversified than ever, and the fact that we see probably a majority of like, you know, mainstream artists, especially like in the pop and hip hop like sector, like highlighting or like, you know, really consistent award shows. It's like, what is going on? Like, where's the rest? Like, you can have a mix. You can have a perfect mix between that. And I just feel like, you know, no one in terms of like the awards committees take consideration of that. So I feel that's another aspect. Another thing too is like basically, and you know what, I don't care if I get put on blast for this, it's just the committees. I think there's legit people who just don't care about award shows anymore. They don't care in the sense of, hey, let's book a show that people are gonna remember, you know. Like it's very rare for me to like go back to a award show and like watch it from the top and be like, oh, that's crazy, or like, you know, maybe I'll think about the award shows like, let me go watch that performance again because like that was epic, you know. I remember one thing, if we're going to talk about stickers with BET, the BET awards back in 2015, that award show was crazy. And one of the performers I remember was, I think it was Big Sean. Like, he went out to perform, like, I Don't Fuck With You. He did Lessons. Like, it was crazy in there. Everyone was going nuts. Like, it was amazing. It was perfect. Big Sean at that point, he was hopping. He was on, like, the top of his game. I think we had even performances with Kendrick Lamar at the beginning. Like, what a start. Like, Kendrick, when he dropped All Right, in the same year he dropped Pimp a Butterfly, it was perfectly executed. And I just feel like nowadays, just kind of like, okay, let's just get a bunch of artists and they'll perform. But it's like, okay, but what's the structure for? Like, how are you going to approach it? Are you just getting a bunch of names? Because here's the thing. You can get a bunch of names and put them on the stage, and that's cool. People are going to show out, but it's like, where are the memories going to be? And you know what? That's where I want to like jump into and get to like, why I believe things have like changed and the prestige of it has disappeared. So I came up with 3 reasons. Number 1, I'm just going to say, I don't care if this gets you triggered, and I don't care if anyone feels this way. Again, I like to just be open and minded. You guys have your opinions, you can share it, but I'm not going to be silent and not, give my personal opinion on it. The first reason, it has to do with live concert events. It just has to. And I'm talking the Rolling Loud, the Coachella, the Lollapalooza, I think that happened this year. It starts with that. Look, you look at those shows, like, let me tell you something. You look at those shows, they feel like, to all my NBA 2K players, you know how you do like a fancy draft and you may build like the most elite squad, or better yet, like an NBA All-Star squad. That is basically what like a Rolling Loud concert, a Coachella concert, a Lollapalooza concert is. That's basically what it is. It's like a fantasy. It's like, what the heck? Like, every like big name that you can think of any genre will be there. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing, but I feel like we've seen so much of like versions and editions of that in other concerts that it's like when you come to the award show, it's kind of like it doesn't feel the same. I remember back then, award shows, they meant something. It's like, oh wow, like this is the first time you get to see like Rihanna and Beyonce probably sit beside each other. You probably got to see, I don't know, a Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, or, this group, or at the time, like a Maroon 5, and like there were so many people that you can look forward to. Like, it was just crazy. Now it's like, you see these artists get together and it's like, y'all were like together last week when there was just a concert. So it's like, what's different? Like what's new? And I feel like it has to do with these concerts. Now look, I am not saying you can't have these concerts, but even I'll admit this too. Sometimes these concerts is like mostly heavily like promoted in terms of like the media and the rollout. It's like, we want you to go see these main stars. We want you to go see these top names. And again, if anything, those posters were like, you have like the hierarchy of names were like, oh, the more bolded names are at the top, and in the lower the list, you got to see like the smaller font. I don't like that. I find like, regardless who's on there, I find that to be mad disrespectful. Like, it's like, what you're basically saying is like, this is who you should come for. Like, this is what we want you to come for. And in the bottom, if you want to watch them, yeah, they're there too. They're there. That's like, warm up, or like a pre-show in a way. And I don't like that. Now, I'm not saying you have to slap everyone's names at the same amount of font or like the same thing, but you guys have different strategies to do so. Like, drop your big names, cool. Maybe another week, drop more of your unknown names. You can do videos, interviews, something like that. Why are you gonna drop a whole list where you got like names like Megan Thee Stallion, Post Malone, Justin Bieber, and then at the bottom you see people like, oh, we got Savannah Ray, we got like Glass, we got these other names. Well, like, you probably don't know them, but they're somewhere. It's like, why though? Like, that just makes me feel like, well, I won't care about them. So when the time comes and they announce them, I'm just gonna be like, okay, let me just, go on my phone, just be like, hey guys, I'm here. They're just doing a warm up. I'm just waiting until like Travis Scott or like J. Cole or comes out. It's like, come on. It's actually garbage. It really is garbage. And again, the saturation to the point where like you see most of this all the time. I'm telling you, the Grammys don't feel important anymore. They don't. And that's a whole different aspect I'm going to get into. But they don't feel important. The Grammys feel irrelevant. The Billboards feel irrelevant. I don't care what anyone says. The BT Awards don't feel the same either. It just doesn't. They talk about culture's biggest night. Like I said, you can see all the people you see in the BT Awards in another concert in the next month or a month prior to that. So it's like, what's going on? And I get it. Concerts, this is something that's been here for decades. It's not something that just came as like its own revolution. I get it. But I feel like the overproduction of these big, get together, get the biggest names as possible, like type level of concert, is where award shows are suffering to like, well, it doesn't feel as important anymore. It just doesn't have that same essence to like, oh, when you hear a Grammys or a Billboard or a VMAs, it's like, oh wow, like, you know, you're gonna probably expect big names. Nowadays, like, you're probably gonna see maybe like 5 to 10 big names, and then like everyone else is kind of like in the middle of the pack. You know, it's nothing crazy. And like, there's people who's like, I'm not going to this show because like it's nothing crazy. Like, if I might not be nominated. Like, there was even times like, you know, even if you weren't nominated, you would still go because you know the night itself was gonna be special in the past. Now it's like, if I ain't even nominated, I ain't showing up. And again, that is more of like a moral thing in your discretion. But at the same time, it also shows that these people who like structure these shows can't even get a good show enough for people who aren't nominated to come. And that's terrible. So that's one aspect. And it kind of ties into the second point that I'm about to mention. Lost appreciation. I think people over the time, because there's been more concerts, there's been more avenues and outlets to see these bigger names, there's lost appreciation. And no one, like, you know, realize that award shows, it's an art form in a way. It's like you actually get to see something special in the sense of like, you know, creativity and, you know, the mindset of these artists, like how they want to present themselves. Because sure, live concerts are great, but like they're up on stage and they're doing the tracks. You know, there's no big, you know, ambiance, like background or just like artistic form. Like maybe if you do like your own separate concert, that's cool. But like if we're talking about like big collaboration concert with other artists, it's like you're on stage, you got a certain amount of time, you go do you know? And if you probably have enough charisma and personality to go on there and do that, then that's cool. But if you're one of those more like, I just go out there and perform my music, then like, we don't get to see maybe the creative side of you. So hopefully we can get to see that in the award shows. But again, there's no appreciation, so no one puts the effort. And I want to get to that in terms of the VMAs later on. But I feel like the appreciation for that has just dropped. It just dropped tremendously. And the third reason, which I think is another huge point, is award committees. I can't stress this enough. Some of the people on the award committees needs to be evaluated. Like, I'm telling you, some of y'all need to be checked. Because sometimes you be making the shittiest choices when it comes to who's going to be performing and, like, who's going to be nominated. Because I know it's not the fans picking the nominees. Because if it is, then we need to do better. We need to do better. I'm telling you right now, award committees, I truly believe that it's nothing more than just people who listen to mainstream music. Now, look, I am not throwing my ballot in there. I am not going to throw my hat in there and say, put me there. Because listen, I try to listen to different types of music, but not just mainstream, more of the like the underground or just the artists that don't, you know, get that much recognition. But I can't say I'm like top tier, like, oh, give me anyone, or like I'll listen to anyone. No, like I have my boundaries. I may not like one artist in terms of their style and like how they sound, but I will say this: there are people out there who love listen to music and love what they do, like music reviewers. They love to like venture and listen to new people. Try to get those guys or girls and like give them a chance to actually take the music and like be heard. It's like, oh, okay, we heard this artist, like it was amazing. Because I would really like to know, what is the process? How does this work, dude? Like, do you, because obviously this is not like a month ahead. This is like an everyday thing. I'm pretty sure they have people who, again, listen to music, do reviews, and like, I'm assuming they probably store it in like, you know, on some database, or they keep it in some file where it's like, okay, we're approaching award shows, let's look at all the music. Because don't forget, in some award shows, there's a criteria. Like, they only select music within a certain time frame. It's like, okay, let's look at all the music, let's look at all of this, and we'll decide. Now, I get it. You can't listen to every single song or album ever. Like, from that, you just can't. It's not humanly possible. So obviously there has to be parameters, and I'm assuming it has to do with streams. It has to. I feel if you don't have a certain amount of streams that's like within a certain frame, it's like, we're not gonna listen to you. I'm like, sorry. Like, unless you are an artist that has made a huge following on social media, then yeah. But other than that, we're not gonna pick you. We're not gonna listen to you. I'm sorry. It's just how the numbers are. And I get that aspect. But even still, how do you have all those set up and you still mess up? You still be picking mostly the big names. Like, listen, I think Cardi B was nominated for like what, like 8, 9 nominations for the VMAs for 2 tracks. 2 tracks. One of them that honestly I don't really enjoy it. Up and WAP, which I get the message about it, but I mean, like, it's not even good enough to say like, oh, it's a good like club banger. Like, no. So like, I'm literally like looking into this aspect like, yo, what are we doing wrong? Because clearly there's some conspiracy. It's bad enough when you got artists like The Weeknd saying, I'm not going to the Grammys ever again, or do not submit any music to the Grammys. Because don't forget, if people don't realize that last Grammys, The Weeknd wasn't nominated for anything. And that was the time he dropped After Hours, which is arguably the best album of 2020, and he didn't get nominated for nothing. So he said, I'm not submitting no music, I'm not going to support this shit, none of that. So if you got like artists who are basically like, you know, going against those committees, it just shows that like something needs to be fixed. It's not just the fans where we react to nominees and we're like, wait, why was this person nominated? I think something like that stood out very well to me. I think it was the Billboard Awards. Justin Bieber was nominated for Best R&B Artist. Are you kidding me? Bieber, Biebs, Best R&B Artist. Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. There's clearly no consistency in what they need to do well, but there's clearly inconsistency. But there is consistency in their bullshit. Anyway, yeah, so honestly, I think those are the 3 reasons. They need to fix up. They need to do something better because, God forbid, this is getting ridiculous. Like I said, artists are legit, like, you know, protesting against these committees. Like, we're not going to pull up. We're not going to be there. We're not going to support it. Like, literally, when you have, like, guys like Jay-Z talking about F that Grammys 0 for 8 shit. Come on now. Like, what are we talking about? Anyway, so basically, that's kind of like why I believe the prestige of award shows has disappeared. I gave you my reason why. Now, let's talk about where this came to be. Why did I come up with this idea? The VMAs. Now, again, I don't watch the VMAs like that, but I had time to watch it this last Sunday. So I said, okay, cool. Let me take the chance. Let me do so. And I gotta say, like, why does MT keep doing it wrong? Or more importantly, why do the award shows not actually understand the significance? Because listen, I feel like an award show should be booked like a wrestling show, you know, like for all the wrestling fans out there. Like, think about WrestleMania. If you don't even know like a wrestling show, for all the casual fans, you know about WrestleMania. Like, it's the WWE's biggest show of the year. You have like a main card, you know, it's basically like a lineup. You have your main event, right? The main event, that's the one with the heavy storyline. And even though if you're a casual viewer, you know, and you have no clue what's happening, WWE, in a sense, or should I say, like, the VMAs should book it in a way where it's like, okay, you know, this is the person, this is their character, you know, what's the storyline, you know, and how's it gonna play out. That's more of the wrestling side. So in terms of music, you want to let people know, like, hey, like, this is the artist, this is their track, you know, why should you be listening to them, and why is this performance important? Because, you know, they've had a lot of traction for this song or for this album, you know, like, hype it up. You want to like paint a picture that everyone else can see, and not only those who actually appreciate the art. Because sometimes you have a blind eye. You'd be like, oh, you're looking like, oh wow, it's amazing, but it's like, are you actually like looking deeper and like critically like analyzing everything? So like, you have your main event, and then you have like your mid part, I would say, or like, you know, those like sub performances. Like, it's not as great as the main one, but like, it's still up there, you know, it's just a little bit, you know, below the main event. And then obviously you have your I guess your lower card performances. Like, it's not bad, but like, they'll do enough to be like, okay, cool, you know, like, they're good. They're like, I don't even want to say filler, because I don't even want to disrespect artists like that. But again, maybe they'll get your energy up if, you know, the energy's low. Maybe they'll just like cool things down if the energy's way too high, and like, that's fine. But also, it gives them a platform as well to spread their music and hopefully get more people on their side and gain their audience. That's cool. Now, I use WE, and that's honestly a bad example, because WE right now is probably in the worst creative decision booking in their entire history, but that's more of the ideal approach I'm talking about. So let's apply that for the VMAs. Who opened the show, you ask? Madonna. No disrespect to Madonna, Why did she open the show? You're telling me you could have put anyone else in that position? Did Madonna really have to open the show? You know you had Chloe, right? And I will get to Chloe. I will get to her performance. But you could have gave it to her. You had Lil Nas X on the show. You could have given it to him. Normani, you could have given it to her. But clearly you gave it to Madonna. Somehow that was gonna be like, oh wow, like that's gonna captivate everyone. You know, oh my goodness, Madonna's on the stage to open the show. So what? I don't want to see Madonna open the show. Oh man, I'm gonna trigger people. Like, was BTS even there? I would have preferred BTS over Madonna. And then like again, the middle part, it felt bumpy, and not to mention there were like different venues that people were like performing in as well. So it was like, I mean, come on. It was just way too much. Like you had some people performing like on top of a building in other locations, and it was so off. And then you're probably wondering, okay, well, they obviously had someone to close the show like super good, right? They had MGK and Travis Barker, the same MGK who, honestly, if you ask any person who has never listened to MGK in their life, the first thing they'll probably ask you, like, wait, wasn't that the dude that was beefing with Eminem about his daughter? And I wouldn't blame you. MGK, that was your response. We opened the show with Madonna and we closed the show with MGK. To me, right there already, that looks like a bad show. That already looks like a badly structured show. Now, the other performances. I really want to like root for like, you know, just the rest, but it's so hard to do so. I mean, Doja Cat, who actually hosted it, by the way, I don't know what she was doing with all the costumes and shit. Her performance, like literally first two performances, she was like strapped to a wire and like she was like floating in air doing absolutely nothing. That's number one. Then she did a little dance piece, but like it wasn't even like too good. Like I don't know how like we saw you dancing in Paris and at the Met Gala after party, you were like bringing so much life and energy, but here it's just like, oh, you're like moving dead. Like, what's going on? It's like literally, it's like you're telling yourself, you know what, I don't even want to like perform. It's just kind of like, you know, I'm just kind of be here in the moment, which is terrible. It's just a terrible mindset. Alicia Keys performed. Did she perform something off her album in 2020? Nope. Did she do Autism Forever? Did she do Underdog? Did she do Show Me Love with Miguel? Nope. She said, you know what? Let me get in collab with Sway Lee. Who asked for that? No one asked for that. No one in their minds ever thought of that. It just came off bad. It just didn't come off good. And then she goes on to perform Empire State of Mind, basically her portion, because, oh, we're in New York. So, hey, how about you do like to try to in New York? Hey, you see, because she's in it. No, it doesn't come off. Ed Sheeran performed, which was okay, but I would have liked for him to be on the main stage again, because he also performed outside of the arena. Lil Nas X, as much as he is causing so much talking, whether you want to say the right or wrong reason, his performance wasn't too bad. Wasn't too crazy either. Kind of just felt like a normal Lil Nas X performance, what you would expect. And then we get to Chloe. Now listen, I may be getting backlash, so before anyone starts putting in the comments of Instagram or wherever you see this, I want to get this clear. Chloe is a phenomenal talent. Like, she is amazing. I think she has everything. You know, she has the voice, she has the presence. I think she's going to be a star. I did not like her performance. Not one bit. I just felt like, is it me? And like, again, like maybe if anyone else can just like, please put a hand up if you hear me out. Was Chloe not giving you like young Beyonce vibes? And like, and not just even the VMA performance, like just leading up to this point, everything, especially the Have Mercy video. I think, what's it? My sister pointed out something. I think the very end of the video, there's a move she does that I could swear is the same exact move that Beyonce did on the Check On It video. If you want to like check that out and like compare the two, I could swear it's almost identical. Now I know Chloe does have like, you know, inspiration. Her influence is Beyonce, and it's cool. If you want to have influence against someone, that's cool. But I feel like when it's so blatantly obvious and like, if it's gonna be obvious, it's gonna come off genuine, it's gonna sound forced. It kind of felt forced. It just did. And if you don't even want to talk about that and just look at the performance itself, it wasn't nothing crazy. It wasn't special. You know, she did a couple of moves. You know, obviously she shaked her ass. First of all, like, I kind of was hoping for something a little bit different. You know, like blow me away. It didn't really blow me away. It's kind of more like, all right. And like even at the end, I don't know if she was like having like, I don't know what she was doing at the end. I don't even want to be disrespectful and say the comment. I'm just gonna keep it to myself. Yeah, I got nothing to say. Nothing nice to say. Don't say it at all. But it just felt like any normal like performance. It really did. Because you had like performances like, again, Lil Nas X and then Normani. Nothing about Chloe's performance felt different to those two in terms of like how the choreography was. It was nearly the same, basically. So it was sad. Again, like, I don't really like the song Have Mercy that much, but I was hoping she could have gave it some type of like elegant like approach, even though the message obviously is like, you know, appreciating, you know, like, obviously I don't even want to get in content, but you know what I'm trying to explain. Anyway, yeah, I was hoping like just it felt different. Because listen, last year she was on the VMAs with her sister. They did do it, and Ungodly Hour. It was simple. It was great. I liked the visuals. It was cool. 1 year later, how did we go from that to then all of a sudden in this character and this state of mind? It's just it didn't come out great. Everyone's saying she's a superstar, and like, oh my god, this performance solidified her. I guess people forgot what happened last year because I enjoyed that performance way more than this one. This just did not do it for me. It did not. And then at the end where she licked the mic, like, who are you, Miley Cyrus? What's next? We're going to see a video where you're looking at a sledgehammer and swinging from a wrecking ball? Oh man, I gotta chill. Oh, yeah, but yeah, it wasn't for me. And then Normani, who's I was vouching again for her to perform. I loved her song. It's just, first of all, I think they brought it up like an extra key, which I don't know why. It was fine as it is. The performance wasn't bad. It was okay. But then like that last spot with Tiana Taylor, I don't know who put that in, but I'm like, hey, within your discretion. And I don't know if these artists like have full on control or if there's like what their performance is going to be. I'm pretty sure they do. But obviously they do need like, you know, approval from like probably backstage and everything. But if this is what the artists are thinking, then it's like, what's going on, man? What the heck is going on? But the award show as a whole, I just didn't think it was good. I wasn't really intrigued. There wasn't really any good moments to like reminisce on, and I just felt like, wow, it's like, what is going on? So, how would I fix it? Look, I'm not gonna give you no step-by-step plan or everything, like, no, of like what they should do with the performance. No, because I'm not like that. I think there's a couple of things we need to do. First of all, I do believe that there is an extensive amount of award shows that we see today. Now, I feel like there's an award show like every month or two. Whether it's the big ones, the more like middle ones, and then the ones that no one really talks about. That's just me. I feel like, yes, you can have those lower ones because I'm pretty sure that has to deal with like TV deals and everything. You can't change those, so whatever. But I think you should build up to 4 main award shows, 4 main ones, and those are the Grammys, the Billboard Awards, BET Awards, and I'm gonna get to that in terms of how that's gonna be structured, and the VMAs. Those should be the 4. I'm cutting the AMAs because like really, what is the AMAs? The American Music Awards. Basically, every show in here is American. And for everyone's like, oh, but Shon, it's American music. It talks about American musicians. Really? Really? That's you're gonna be your defense stat? Come on now. Most of the nominees in the major award shows are American musicians. Do you see any Canadian? In fact, do you even see any Canadian musicians living in Canada? They're mostly Americans. You can basically call them U.S. citizens. Like, it don't even matter. So cut that nonsense. It makes no sense. I would just leave it those four. In terms of how you would place them, I think there needs to be gaps. I don't think there should be like award shows that like every single month where like you can't breathe and like relax and just it's overcrowded. So Grammys, I keep that in February. Billboard, keep that in, I think it's always in May. Sometimes they do in April, but that's okay. So you have February and then like March, April, there's a gap there. The BET Awards. Now let me explain to the BET Awards. I think there just needs to be just one like version that BET does in terms of award show. Because there's the BET Awards, there's the BET Hip Hop Awards, which is actually coming up, and then don't forget they have the Soul Train Awards. I don't know why y'all have 3 separate award shows. I get it, but I don't get it. I get that, you know, obviously with black music, how again it's being like populated all around in different genres, it still doesn't get that recognition or that, you know, appreciation for like award nights like this. I get it, but at the same time, don't just, your answer shouldn't be, oh, you know what, to get that recognition, let's put multiple versions and spread over. No, just book one night and just book it correctly, book it simple, and have it mean everything. You talk about culture's biggest night, you basically get that 3 times in the span of like what, 7-8 months? Like, I see the BET Awards and like the BET Hip Hop Awards. What is gonna be different from the Hip Hop Award that you don't see from the BET Award? What's gonna be different from the Soul Train Award that you don't see from the BET Award? The genre? I mean, come on. So I would literally combine all of them and have it just be one BET Award. And then it has different representation. You know, you have your mainstream star, like, you know, the mainstream stars in black music. Do that. Then you have your hip hop artists, which again, that's another aspect. And then have those Soul Train artists, like the soul, the true like R&B artists. Have that. You can do that. And like, again, have your top stars, but also have your undercard. Like, listen, one thing that pissed me off a lot for the BET Awards, I think they used to do those amplified things where they introduce like, you know, a young upcoming or like new artist, and I hate the fact that they let them do their shtick for like 45 seconds, and then you have MC Light back in broadcast saying we will go to commercial. Like the level of disrespect for that is unreal. It's like you're basically like, okay, we're gonna give you like a couple of seconds, and then, you know, no one at home is gonna see your performances. No one's gonna see it. And you come back, it's like the performance is done. It's done, it's finished. All right, move on to the next thing. It's like, huh? Like what? Like wait, how do we go here? Like I think there was like even recently, I think it was Tingz. He did an amplified performance, and like no one in the crowd was paying attention. People were like turning away on their phone, just like, okay, it's an intermission. I think like it was disgusting. It goes to show like you're just disrespecting these artists. So for the young and upcoming artists, the new artists, give them the same platform. Don't belittle them. Don't degrade them by like, okay, you basically get like an open mic set while we gonna give the main artist the grand stage. Like, what is that? It's like you're gonna be that. I should not as well show up. So give them the same level of treatment and respect. Let them be on the show. And plus, again, it gives them that platform. Now, again, not everyone's gonna recognize them, but you know what? Maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe it's like, you know what? We don't just want to showcase like the bigger names. We want to showcase those names who are making an impact or trying to get into the game as well. I guess, is that hard? Sometimes I get tired when you be throwing big name after big name after big name. Like take a break. Like, let me get to listen to someone new. Like, is there someone that you're gonna bring to the stage that I have no clue that I might love? That I'm like, you know what? Oh my God, this person's amazing. Oh wow, I like her. I like him. Let me start listening to their music. It's not that hard. So overall, the BET Awards, no separate hip hop, no separate Soul Train, combined it. That will be in August. And finally, the VMAs, the fourth one being in November. So within there, you have a 2-month gap. Gives you 2 months to breathe, okay? In terms of the main award shows. Obviously, there's other award shows, but so be it. And again, in terms of like how I book it, again, you want to have shows where like they have meaning. Like, give it a purpose. Like, I'm being dead honest. I am dumbfounded that Normani did not close the show. I felt it was perfect because people, like her fans, were literally like petitioning, advocating, like, where's Normani? Like, she wasn't announced for any performance yet. Like, bring her on the show. And then, like, it was literally back and forth. People thought, oh, she's not going to show up and everything. And then they finally did it. And then, you know what? The committee could have said, you know what? We're sorry that it took this long. So to show, you know, that we care about you, we're going to give you the last spot. You did not need to give it to MGK. What was MGK going to benefit from that? Normani has one of the hottest songs of the year. And you decide, yeah, we're not going to close her. Or we're not even going to open with her. She's going to be in the middle. Or probably like the near end. You know, it's there. Like, have it like that because it's also good for her because you're solidifying, like, you know what? You have, like, your top eight. You have your hers, your SZAs and everything. But Normani, she's now. And she's about to show you guys, like, what she can do. Again, as much as I don't like the Have Mercy performance, you could have let that open the show. You could have let that open the show. Trust me. Like, what's it? And, like, you're probably thinking, like, I'm only focused on black art. What's it? Olivia Rodrigo? She could have opened the show. She could have closed it. I listened to her album. I thought the album was okay. But I know a lot of people love her music. Like, are, like, going crazy over her. So why didn't she open? Why didn't she close? You even had, like, you had Busta Rhymes. And this is where I was like, okay, they clearly don't know what they're doing. Or they clearly could not get anyone else. You get Busta Rhymes, I guarantee you 95% of the crowd had no clue of Busta Rhymes' old music, what he has done in the past. Like, I'm telling you, like, people were putting their hands up in the air, and like they were even doing that off rhythm. Like, it was like, I don't know how that even possible. But it was just so bad. Like, the only times like it got active when they played Touched It, and like it was people in the crowd screaming, and I was pretty sure that was mostly black folks. Like, let's be real. All right. And then they did Look At Me Now, which I'm pretty sure everyone knew. And it's like, why'd you bring Busta Rhymes? Like, you could have brought anybody else. Anybody else. I'm not asking you to get Drake or Kanye, but like, there needs to be more time and effort in terms of how you book these shows and what the structure is. So yeah, accountability and change in the award show committee. Just like I mentioned, and just how to tie it in. Y'all need to do better. Y'all need to admit that, okay, you know what? We messed up. We are honestly not at the best of what we do, and we're trying to do better. But not just accountability in terms of like admitting you're wrong, but actually changing those in those positions. Like, get rid of those people who keep making those mistakes, okay? Simple. Also, managing live concerts. This may be an unpopular opinion. I don't think Rolling Loud and Coachella, like events like that, should be every year. I think you can easily do it every 2 years. You can alternate, like Rolling Loud, like for example, let's say you have it this year, and then the next time you have it, 2023. But in 2022, you have Coachella, and the next time you see Coachella, 2024. It's kind of like, you know, alternate. Do stuff like that. That's not hard. Like, will you die if you don't have a Rolling Loud concert every year? If so, then you have issues, okay? And like, it does better because number one, it won't be like, okay, now you get to see your big artists every single year now, okay? Because I mean, sure, award shows, again, I'm not saying you have to make the award shows like a Rolling Loud. You can still have like a perfect balance. But if you actually want to say, okay, let's really, really get those big names out there, then you have it every 2 years. In the meantime, where you're not having those big concerts, have more, you know, mid-tier concerts where it highlights, again, the younger stars. Those are like who are not getting their name out there as much and need a bigger platform, or those who have their name out there but just need a bigger push. Do stuff like that. That's what I appreciate. Like, honestly, I've been listening to a lot of like music this year in terms of like, you know, or in terms of like artists that are not as top. Obviously, I listen to my main people, but it's like there's so many names I was like, oh wow, like I never listened to them and I didn't know how like they had a good following. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think there's one artist that I listened to recently, Goldie James. I love his game. I love his rap game. Like, it's perfect. It's immaculate. Love his sound. And like, he did an album with Alchemist. It sounded beautiful and everything. I think one of my favorite tracks is Third Person. It's just, the guitar, the riff. So good. But like, just do stuff like that. Like, look at the Double XL, Moray. I discovered him and he was amazing. I've listened to his album. It was so perfect. You know, there's so many different names. Like, do that. And if you do that, have Coachella and Rolling Loud every 2 years. I think they could change Lollapalooza to be more of like an underground artist type event. Because I think that would be okay. But I think that's something they need to manage live concerts. You can still have your separate tour concert for your album. I'm not saying cancel that. But I mean, for like big collabs and all that stuff, that needs to be under control. And I think the last point is the artists themselves. I think the artists, they don't care. And I think this is why. In a world of like the digital age and technology, let's be real. People don't care about award shows anymore, especially artists. Like, when they win an award, like, oh, we win, you know, this big award. It's like, who cares? I just care about how much streams I get on Spotify and Apple Music and iTunes. And like, I really have to think to myself, like, does it really matter? Because the one thing I've learned is that society is toxic. And no matter what artists will do, whether good or bad, they're gonna have their followers. You don't believe me? Look at Tory Lanez. We all knew what he did, as much as he wants to say he didn't. We're very confident he did do it. Did anyone really say that this man falled off? He seems fine to me. He's actually getting more people to follow him. There were times he was trending on YouTube. His streams were going up. Can we really say he fell off? No. He's doing completely fine. The baby, we know what happened to him with Rolling Loud. Even though he's not like getting any concert deals or anything, he's doing fine. Like, actually, what I've realized, people who actually get themselves into stupid shit are actually getting more out of it than worse. So it makes you realize, like, yo, is it really about the streams? Because you're gonna have people following you. So what is it? You just don't care? It's like a line J. Cole said. A problem is like the BET Hip Hop Award. I'm starting to see you niggas don't want it. That's not a shot. That is honestly the God truth. That is the truth. There are legit people who walk in these award shows and don't care. I think Lil Baby won an award for the BET Award, and you saw this man's demeanor. This dude looked like he didn't even want to be there. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So I feel artists, this is more of a moral aspect. Try to put some more care about it. And maybe it has to do with the simple fact of the points I mentioned before, because of award committees and like live concerts that, you know, it's like you're seeing all these other things happen. Why should we care about these award shows? So obviously you want to start at that. So maybe until those are fixed, maybe artists are like, okay, I'll care more. But until then, we're just gonna be stuck in the same spot. Like, even like, what's it? Award nominees. Here's the thing. I would do this. Every show has like Artist of the Year award. I wouldn't do that. The only show I would have an Artist of the Year is the Grammys. Because let's be honest, if you have an Artist of the Year for every single award show imaginable, it diminishes the value of what the category is. When people win, it's like, oh, I was Artist of the Year. No, like, you were Artist of the Year for in Billboard's committee. You know, you were actually Artist of the Year. You're just Artist of the Year under a specific criteria. But the Grammys can be like exemplification of like, hey, no, we're talking the artist, like top. Like the Billboard, they have stuff like, you know, Hot 100, Hot Billboard 200 artists. Keep those. Let those be the main ones. For the BET Awards, you want to talk about how you have the hip hop and the soul train, then do stuff like that. Let those be the main award. Top R&B artists for BET, you know, top BET hip hop artists, top BET, you know, pop artists. Those could be the main ones. VMAs. For something that's called the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, focus on the videos. That's another thing too. Music videos, I remember music videos back then meant so much. Nowadays, it's just like, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, it matter that much, but it clearly matters for like, oh, who's trended, how much views I got. Never actually the art itself and actually visualize it. How does it connect with the song, or how does it like amplify the song even more? That's a lost art. No one does that anymore. I'm telling you. So really, I have to like really like evaluate and tell myself, you know what? Do we need that much Artist of the Year awards for every single award? I think you just have it for one, the Grammys, and have like 10 names. Like, that means when you're nominated, it means even more because you know there's only one of all the shows. Now I'm talking the main ones. If you want to have your other ones, that's cool. But in terms of the main ones, I think just having one, that would just be perfect. When you get nominated, it means so much more. So much more. But yeah, those are really my critiques and how I would fix it, what needs to be, like, you know, mentioned. But in terms of award show, the next upcoming one is the BET Hip Hop Awards. I will be keeping an eye on that. And I'm really hoping they just put some effort. Like, don't just get the big names, because I know that's what they're thinking. They're probably thinking of getting the Durks, the Lil Babies, probably Kendrick, Drake, Kanye, you know, Migos, you name them. Try to get some of the more underrated. Try to get some of the people who are on Double XL. Get Moray, get Blast, you know, just get these guys. Lakia. I would love to see Lakia. Flo Milli. Get these people. You never know. And even get names that I don't even know that well. That would be great. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for like listening to this conversation. I know I went off like, my throat is hurting and I'm about to lose my voice, so I probably probably end it soon. But I appreciate you guys for listening. In terms of like what I have to say last, I am approaching soon to my 50th episode, so that will be coming out very soon. It will be dropping on October 15th. So you heard it first. October 15th will be the 50th episode of The Safe Room. I am so happy. I'm so proud of myself. And I can't wait. I have a huge plan in motion. I can't drop it yet. But when the time comes, you will know. And again, if you guys want more details on that, you know, it'll be coming up. I made a video on Instagram, but honestly, after what I got a couple days later on, I might have to delete that. I might have to delete that because I think I have something else in plan. you know, time moves very, very different. But yes, again, October 15th. Remember the date, 50th episode of The Safe Room. Guys, go remember, stock it in your calendars. Just stock it in your calendars. So yeah. Oh, in terms of that, I also have a big announcement. I've been promoting the last couple weeks. I haven't dropped it yet. I'm not gonna tell you when I'm gonna drop it until like the time is right. So don't worry. Maybe you guys can guess. Maybe you guys can figure out what that big announcement is. So who knows? But thank you guys. It is about 10:46, and I gotta hit back. I gotta get back to Jem because she was like messaging me throughout the beginnings of this podcast. But again, shout out to her, to the stuff she's doing. I have something in motion. Like I said, I'm doing big things. No pun intended. Oh, also, if you want to go check me out on the Let's Talk Big Things podcast, I did a discussion on the N-word. So again, if you're uncomfortable, don't listen to it. But if you want like good, serious, but also like, you know, pretty entertaining conversation, go check that out. I'll leave that in the description for you guys so you can check it out for yourself. But yeah, I should really end this. Oh gosh. Thank you guys for listening to The Safe Room. I've been the president, Shon Williams, and I'll see you guys